As a SHEDWARS21 participant, you're required to grow at least one thing in a pot. I have a few pots. So this morning I'm going to show you how I assemble my big pots. This one's 2 foot across and about 14 inches tall or so, 15. The first thing I do is I fill it up, the bottom of it, with pine cone. Multiple reasons. First off, I don't know if you knew it or ever listened to any of it, but a few years ago there was a lot of discussion about how tillers were actually packing the ground down at the bottom of their reach, and so a lot of people were digging out their beds and then digging even deeper so they get real deep, you know, a couple feet into the ground. Well, it turns out most annual plants don't grow more than about 8 inches deep. So when you're doing this, you want to leave yourself about 8 inches. And see here, that's about what I got. Somewhere in there at 8 inches. And this is, I use the pine cone because they're very light. They don't break down my pot and everything. They're cheap. I got them in the yard. These actually were the ones I used last year, a lot of them. So they're actually reusable. They did not cause any problems. I grew flowers in this pot last year as a test for the pine cones, and I did not have any problem with it. So anyhow, next in will be my potting soil, and I'll be back when I get that in. Okay, I'm back. Had to run and get more potting soil. These things take quite a bit of potting soil. And as you can see, I put the potting soil in. I've soaked it down. That potting soil can take a while to absorb a lot of water. One of the things too is you want to get it pretty high, because this is going to sink down about 1 inch as it settles into those pine cones and what have you. So the next thing that I will do on this one, now not everyone is done like this, but on this one is I'm going to put one of my Oyas right in the middle. And this will be watering, but also not necessarily my primary watering, but a backup in case I don't get to it, but at some point it may become my primary. We'll see. So there's the way that one goes. Those are pretty easy. Now, I didn't say, but what I am growing is cherry tomatoes, which is not one of my favorites, but I don't really care a lot for fresh tomatoes. I like all cooked tomatoes, and cherry tomatoes aren't really worth a, you know, I say cooked tomatoes, tomato sauce. So anyhow, I got one more thing before I put in my plants. Now I'll be back here with that in just a second. Okay, so this is a tomato cage. I'm not using one for each of the 3 plants I'm putting in, but I'm actually putting the 3 plants on the outside, and then I will weave it up through here and tie it off to this as it grows up, so that all 3 plants will give the appearance of one big bush, I would think. The rest of it's pretty simple if you've ever planted tomatoes. If you haven't, what you want to do here is you always want to tease your roots out here. If they're going round and round now, they'll continue that and they'll be stunted. So you want to pull them out a little bit. If you break them, don't worry. You can be a little bit rough with them. It's no biggie. Leaves here, you can plant lower leaves, or take these off and plant them below lower leaves. It's one of the few plants you can actually plant below. And let me get rid of that plastic. My greenhouse took a hit on hail this year, and all the little bits are all over my plants. Anyhow, so you see these hairs down here? All of those will become roots. It's one of the few plants that you can actually plant below the dirt level that it was started in. So what I'll do here is I will make a pretty good size hole, stick it way down in there, and do it like that. And I will be back when I get all 3 of them planted. Okay, so I had to reposition the camera there to be able to do this. I'll fill my Oya up with water. If you watched my other videos on Oya, those seals I used did not work. And a little blue disc, so what I'm doing is I'm going back with the corks. So if you're doing Oyas, The corks work pretty good. Actually, I was thinking about just maybe turning some wood that would just fit in that hole, and once it got wet, will it swell up like a, you know, like an axe handle? I don't know. Anyhow, so here you go. This is my pot. This will all be cherry tomatoes. There's 3 of them, and like I said, when it gets full grown, it'll be look like one big bush. So I hope you learned something. Hope you have a nice day. We'll talk to you later.